Pomodoro. It's supposed to make you more productive. And I used to think the Pomodoro technique was the ultimate productivity hack. I even wrote blogs about it and I recommend it to clients. And I shouted about how you get more focus done with it. But the more I learned about neuroscience, focus and the ADHD brain, the more I've realized something. The Pomodoro technique, it can backfire. So in this video, I am going to break down exactly what the Pomodoro technique actually even is, the real pros and cons, and why it might not be working for you. And if it's not working for you, especially if you're neurodiverse, I am going to show you what you need to do instead. So these are the methods that I use for myself and the ones that I teach to my clients as well, so that they can be more focused, more productive, and have more flow throughout the day. So if that sounds good, stay tuned, because in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how. So what is the Pomodoro technique? Before we dive into the pros and cons, let's quickly just look at what the Pomodoro technique actually is. Maybe you've seen something on YouTube, maybe you've even seen some of those like timers, like come work with me, you're like, what is this Pomodoro? Basically, it is a time management method created by 𝗕𝗁𝘁𝗵𝗁𝘀𝗁𝗃 in the late 80s. And it's about working in a burst of 25 minutes, followed by a 5-minute break. So you do 4 of these cycles or 4 of these Pomodoros, and then you take a longer break, maybe 15 to 30 minutes. And the name Pomodoro, if you're thinking, that word sounds familiar, yes, you probably have seen it on an Italian menu, because it is Italian word for tomato. And apparently the guy used a tomato-shaped egg timer to do his 25-minute timing bursts, and that's why it's called the Pomodoro technique. Now, on paper, it sounds so simple, it is genius, and it works for a lot of people. And some of the reasons why it does work so well and where Pomodoro gets it right is because often, and this is my experience as a time and energy management coach where I see people go wrong, is that they don't break it down. So the Pomodoro technique gets it right because it helps you break things down into bite-sized chunks. That 25-minute structure can help make those big, intimidating projects that you've been putting off into something more manageable and digestible. So the Pomodoro technique definitely gets it right there. The second area where Pomodoro gets it right is that it builds time awareness. The amount of times I have had to work with a client because they are trying to cram too much into their day because they're not being realistic and accurate with what they can actually achieve with the time that they've got. So Pomodoro does help with that awareness, and this is particularly useful, I guess, if you are somebody who has a tendency to cram too much in. And the third area where Pomodoro gets it right is that it encourages to take regular breaks, something I know that we can all sometimes forget to do, especially when we're busy. So having that scheduled pause, having that timer go off so that you actually step away and re-energize yourself can help that mental fatigue not kick in. And a study actually by the University of Sydney found that by taking unstructured 5-minute breaks throughout your working day could actually boost your mental performance by 40%. So there definitely is merit in taking breaks. But like I said, lovely, Pomodoro can have some cons. It can also backfire, and this is where it can get tricky because I see a lot of my clients struggle with using the Pomodoro. They think it's a good idea because in principle it is, but it can also work against you, especially if you've got ADHD or you're neurodiverse. So reason number 1 why it can backfire is because it interrupts your flow and your hyper focus. And if you are in that state of deep work or in flow or in hyper focus, if you've got ADHD, when that timer goes off at 25 minutes and it forces you into a break, that's not necessarily a good thing because it could take you much longer to get back in the groove and to get back into the thing that you were trying to do. And for some of us, that can actually be impossible, and therefore the Pomodoro totally backfired on the purpose it was given to us for. Now, the second reason where it kind of goes wrong is that it can be too rigid for real life. I don't know about you, but my life doesn't perfectly fit into 25-minute stints. And neither does your to-do list or your tasks or your projects. And some things are going to take you way longer than 25 minutes, and some things probably actually only need 10 minutes. So you could be in danger of like overextended and faffing about because you're not going to give yourself that chance to stop or take a break or switch until that 25-minute timer has finished. There also, and this is downfall number 3, there is also a cost to switching. And when you're constantly stopping and starting, this actually burns mental energy. So each time you stop, pause, and then restart, your brain has to reorientate itself. And actually, this can then become to a point where it's not a healthy break, but almost a distraction. And studies show it can take us up to 23 minutes to recalibrate the brain after a distraction. So it kind of like defeats the object of the Pomodoro. So if Pomodoro isn't working for you, then what do we need to do instead? Okay, so let's look at some practical tips that are going to help you make the Pomodoro technique work for your style. So the first thing is energy management. I know I sound like a broken record, but that's because I'm all about the energy-led time management. So what I want you to think about is not just your time, but also your energy. What do I mean by that when it comes to the Pomodoro? Well, one of the downfalls with the Pomodoro is that it just assumes all hours of the day are equal. So a 25-minute block at 8 in the morning would be the same as a 25-minute working block at 8 p.m. at night. But that's not true because everybody is different. So I want you to spot and notice your natural energy peaks and troughs. And then you can start thinking about, actually, when are the Pomodoros going to work for me? You know, when is that focus block of time that I'm working going to work for me? And also matching your tasks to that. So if you're somebody who is an early bird and you know that you're more creative in the morning, then that's the time that you want to be reserving your work for that high energy, high impact, creative stuff. You can leave the admin, the emails and stuff like that for later in the afternoon when the energy is starting to drop, and that is okay. The second tip that I've got for you is to bend the rules. That is okay. You don't have to do a strict 25 minutes and as soon as the timer goes off, down the tools. So think about, actually, what does this piece of work require from me? Because actually it might be less than 25 minutes. This could be like a 15-minute job, so why drag it out? But equally, it could also be something that you really need to get your teeth sunk into. You know, the kind of one that takes you like a bit of time to get into. So actually, maybe your Pomodoro block isn't 25 minutes. Maybe it's 50, maybe it's 90, and that is also okay. So bend the rules, make the technique work for you. And my third tip for you is to build in intentional breaks. Now, the good thing about the Pomodoro is that it does force us to take a break, but then it doesn't actually help us if we're just grabbing our phone for those 5 minutes, scrolling aimlessly, and then going, oh my God, that 5 minutes has turned into like 20, and now we feel behind. So actually, start building in those meaningful, those intentional mindfulness breaks into your day. And by actually time blocking those in and treating them like an appointment, that's going to really serve you as well if you are someone who typically struggles to take breaks or feels guilty for not just keep plowing on. So as I said, guys, there's some practical tips that are going to help you nail the Pomodoro technique, and these are going to work especially if you have got ADHD, you're neurodiverse, because it's going to honor your natural flow. It's going to honor those energy peaks and troughs, because in my experience working with hundreds of business women, that whole 25-minute rigid structure rarely works because life just doesn't work like that, and neither does that energy, neither does that focus, or neither does our brain. This is going to be the way that you still get the structure, but without it working against you or being too rigid. If this video has been useful for you, then please hit the like, please make sure you subscribe so you can get more juicy content helping you with your time and your energy. And maybe you can share this with a friend as well, because hey, we all want to be more productive and more efficient, so why not share this gift with someone else? Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. By the way, if we haven't met before, my name is Alice Dartnell. I am a time and energy management coach working with business owners to help them take action and create a business by design. So we're talking about one without the procrastination, the overwhelm, or having too many ideas and not actually knowing what to do with it. We are all about the real life strategies here on this YouTube channel, especially ones that work for the ADHD brain as well. So make sure you hit subscribe, like this video, and I will see you in the next one. Ever feels like, oh no, the bloody papers. Management coach helping business owners So one of the